Morning. I can't remember whether I've done this one before. It's Seven Islands of Mitcham Common. There's a lot in this. It looks like I can't remember when I was there on my bike. Probably last year, early spring. We've got silver birches coming up here, so this is scrape with the fingers. Bits and pieces here. I think when you're faced with something as complicated with all these branches, twigs, shores, little shorelines, bit of stuff sticking through the shallow water there. The temptation is to try to put everything in and then fail because you can't do it. So the idea is to do an impression of it. You've got all the shapes, and I know this one is slightly more panoramic than the landscape format. That the paper was a different size, sort of different proportion to my watercolour paper. I won't put this in. Well, I probably won't. But we've got this nice tree. I'm not sure if I've done this one before, but if I have, this will certainly turn out different. So I don't intend to do a copy of it. I'll just use it as a base for a painting. We've got to separate the background from this. So this will be more blue than it shows. We'll see how we get on with it anyway. Right, I'll just adjust my tripod and get into the paper. Right, so we're 15 inches by 11 Fabriano, £130, 45mm Ron Ranson Hake, shortened, make it more manageable. Usual Cotsman watercolours, same as the Ron Ranson palette. Stephen Cronin uses it as well. If you haven't got onto Stephen Cronin, I'd highly recommend you do. If you like big brush watercolour painting. I do a lot of acrylic painting as well, and I will be going back to acrylic very shortly. So lemon yellow, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey and burnt sienna. And I know a lot of you have problems with the amount of water that this brush holds, but it's only practice that will tell you the right amount, and then you won't get it wrong. I do. These are the tubes, the 21mm tubes of Cotsman Winsor & Newton watercolour, student quality. Very, very good for what we use them for. Okay, so I'm not going to draw anything, I'm just going to wet the paper. The board is about 85, 80 degrees. It's quite steep, not a great angle for watercolour painting because gravity makes everything run down, but it's good for my camera setup. I'm using a Canon camcorder, kindly given to me several years ago by my daughter. It's a very good camera, but I can't pause in record and carry on if the phone rings. I have to stop the recording and then start another one and then knit it together on the Windows Movie Maker, which all takes time. But a lovely camera, but I've got the camera on a tripod by my right shoulder. I'd love to. Oh, it's a bit blurred. Why is that? Hold on. Oh, that's better. It looks a bit blurred, out of focus. A very nice little camera, but that's the only thing. And if it was on a boom, I could alter my setup completely. But as it is, that's what I'm stuck with. So I'll just put in a bit of warming sienna. And it was a blue sky. I'm not a lover of blue skies, but I will do a blue sky to give the coal the coldness of it. So a bit of blue, and leaving a bit for the clouds. Right, okay, let's just all the way down to the bottom. And then, because you're looking down into the water will be darker than or darker blue than the sky. Okay. Right, I'll dry that off. I'll just reclip it and then just dry it off, because I want the background not to be diffused into the surrounding wetness. We'll fix the sky. Okay, so take your headphones off or put your mute on now. I very, very rarely paint outside, plein air. I'm not a lover of it. I much prefer sitting in my studio with my little radio and my headphones. Got the electric, I can keep those nice and warm, and I don't feel the need to do it. Right, so a bit of blue in the background. Let's have a bit of alizarin with it as well, just a touch. Just put in a bit of a background of trees, and then I can overpaint this with some remains of the previous autumn. And we've got this bit of umber. And there's that tree that sticks up above the rest. Okay, a bit stronger with that, I think. And I can darken all this as I need, and then get some bit of greyish colour. Right, now I'll put in a bit of blue at the back behind that, because we've got the island. This is Seven Islands. It's a small lake with 7 small islands on it. So it's a very large pond or a very small lake, and the islands are quite small, but it's very, very lovely. It's a real beauty spot. It was even more beautiful before they started using the flat parkland for getting rid of all the the spoil from the M25 motorway, I believe. Bit of landfill. Oh, not landfill, they created quite big hills. I'm not a Luddite or anything. I just thought used to think that the flatness was the beauty of this area at Mitcham. Okay, now I'll just put in some of this bank. It's just a little bit bit of green here, and a bit of umber in there. Okay, let's get a bit of reflection down there. My haker's split, so I just dip it in the water and just drag it back together again. It'll all stick together. Just use a bit of Payne's grey just to darken that umber. And then just drag that down there. Catching the high spots on the water. Okay, that'll do for that. And I'll put in some reflections here, just a little bit, not a lot, because it's a bit distant, so it will show, some of the water will show through that. Okay. Right, let's put in some dark. I'm leaving this bit here for a minute. I want to put in these darks, and I'm using a bit of umber and a bit of Payne's grey. These are the shadows in this area here, and I'll put that tree in a minute. But I just want to right, let's get some of this distant trees, a bit of dark. Right, let's get in. So there's a bit of green I can see. A bit of green in here. Right, okay, they're going to put in some lighter colour for all of this on there, on this island here. So a bit of sienna. Remember that it's coming into spring. So let's just put this in here. Oh, just a bit of umber in there, I think. Right, I just want to put in some bit of wet in that undergrowth there, so I can scrape out. So I'm just a bit black, well, Payne's grey. A bit darker than that, and there's a bit of green in there too. just put a bit more dark in this undergrowth, a bit of undergrowth here. Okay, that'll do for that one for the moment. I want to now put this other island in, so we'll bit of umber and a bit of raw sienna and a bit of this and that. There's another sort of little island there, so let's have a bit of alizarin in there, I think. Come on, brush, go back together again. Right, let's get in a bit of umber, a bit of grey. Right, let's get some more rich dark. In here. And we'll just bring in some bit of reflection down here. Okay, now we'll okay, let's just take those down and a bit dry. Okay, I can texture over that now. We've got some bits of that, those silver birches just poking out at the top. Let's right. Just want to wet this bit here so that I can just scrape out a bit of silver birch or two. Probably, no, it's a bit overdone, that's just a bit too thick. I need to use a corner of a card. Just a bit. Okay, right, I'll just strengthen this bit up here. All right. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is just a little bit of detailing with the hake now. So we've got this sort of Right, I'll do a bit of rigger work on there. All very delicate, this. Just putting a few twigs and that needs to be darker in there. Oops. I don't use enough burnt umber, I've decided. Well, I've decided that many times, then I forget. Because you can more or less mix burnt umber with a bit of Payne's Grey and burnt sienna. Now, what we've got on here, I'm going to clip this paper. I want it as flat as I can get it now. Right, because we've got some reeds. Well, sort of something going on here. So I'm just sort of guessing this. Comes right away across there, just a bit more there. I'll put in some detail with the rigger when I get to it. I just want to establish this. It's like a bit of shadow underneath the grass or whatever it is sticking up there. Want some of the sun, the blue sky to show through that. Right, let's just texture a bit more on there. Okay, so we're well on the way there now. Right, strengthen up the background, I think, just a little bit. Maybe let's just drag that. Right. Let's clean the brush. Find my rigger. Now some very tiny little my wife's gone out with a lot of friends to Kew Gardens today. It's our botanical museum. Open here, of course. I've been there for years. they're just a little bit too obvious. That's not a good shape there. Excuse me. I'll just dry that off. So take your headphones off. Right, I just want to stiffen up some. That's just got a bit heavy there. I think I was trying to do too much with a hake. There's nothing, of course, to stop me using a sable, a round sable. Not a lot of reflection in that area, so just, although I try not to do a copy. Right, just using my rigger just to texture some of this. Just put some contrast in. Okay, I can't seem to do much more than that really. I don't really want to dry brush in there. I'm going to leave that. I'll put a couple of birds in. Of course we do get a lot of birds in here. Right, let's put that in a mount and have a look. Got to drink the tea, as usual. Cold. Right, there we are, that's not too bad. Well, okay, so that is not trying to copy the photograph, but it's a representation of what was there. This has got a bit muddy because I really should have used another brush for that. I think my mashes there were just a little bit too small for the hake. But anyway, I'm not displeased with it. So Southern Island, that's probably just a little bit too strong now for the rest of the picture, but it's standing out just a little bit too much. So maybe we could just warm up some of that foreground with a bit of burnt sienna and get some red in there just. So that'll counter, hopefully that will counter change in here. Right, okay, so that takes a little bit of the muddiness out of that. That opened up too much. Closed down too much. Paper's just a little bit smooth for what I did to it. But apart from that, I can't see I can improve that any more than that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.